Emil Johansson is a Swedish slopestyle and freeride athlete, an FMB World Tour and Crankworx champion. We chat to him on location in Hawaii while filming for the final segment in Return to Earth.
Oh my God!
Yep. My name is Emil Johansson. I'm from Sweden.
Welcome to the Until Sunset podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Osborne. Join us on location with the world's best riders and the Anthill Films crew to explore the moments we capture from sunrise to sunset.
Oh, this is nice.
Let me know when you're ready.
Fun though, fast.
Fast. Hey, our dog.
Anytime!
Emil, send it.
That was awesome.
Yeah, nice one.
There's something addicting about a mountain bike.
That's the best.
So there's a big group of riders that we have out here. What's it been like so far living camp life out here in Hawaii?
It's a whole different vibe. Everyone is just chilled. Doesn't really freak out or anything. Everyone's just chilling, which is cool. I like it here. It's fun.
Yeah, it's definitely nice getting woken up by the birds and the sunshine in the morning. It leaves you exposed to some of the elements, some of the bugs and spiders and stuff. I heard you and Thomas Shannon laughing a couple of nights ago. What happened there?
I haven't asked him yet where he slept tonight, or last night, but the day before, it was a spider in his bed, and he couldn't go back in there. He said he tried a few times, but he could not make himself go into the same container as the spider. Even though Dustin was sleeping in there, he couldn't get in there, so he ended up sleeping in the backseat of the van.
That's wicked.
So I guess it haven't been too good for him, I guess, but I don't know. He doesn't seem to like them. Mine either, though, but I've been lucky so far. I haven't had one in my bed, just underneath.
Yeah, you two are a funny duo. You guys always seem to be getting up to mischief. What's it been like hanging with him?
With Tommy G?
Yeah.
It's fun. He's a funny guy, for sure. Sometimes, and he jokes a lot. So like sometimes you don't even know if he's serious or not. You're just like, wait, is he joking or is he for real right now? So it's like sometimes it only gets to a level where you're like just confused, but he's funny, for sure. I like him.
And other than the current doc you're working on, would this be one of the first bigger shoots you've been on?
Pretty much my first, I would say, especially with a film crew like this, which is so organized and all that. So yeah, it's fun. It's exciting to be in it, to see all this stuff I looked up to growing up, and finally being at a video shoot is cool. It's really cool.
You enjoy watching bike films?
Yeah, I've watched many of them, like especially like from 2010. That was when I got into it more. I watched pretty much every single one that have dropped. Not too bad, not bad, and also like Red Company and all these movies that been dropping, and also like ChemSync documentary and stuff. So I've actually spent a lot of time watching that stuff growing up, which is cool.
Oh, that's cool. And you recently graduated. What were you studying?
So I graduated this summer. I'm a CNC mechanic, so I could specialize myself into making bike parts if I want to. I know CAD programming and all that type of stuff you need to know to be able to make stuff for a machine. So that's what I did at high school. And right now I'm done with that. Maybe in a few years I take a few classes and try to get even better to see where I could go with that. I don't know.
Interesting. Have you been able to put it to use yet and make anything that you can use for your bike?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I also got time at school time to sometimes do stuff with my bike. And I also made my own bike part. So it's pretty cool that you could make stuff at school and it's like use it when you need it.
What was the bike part you made?
Yeah, so we needed to do like a project the last year, so, and a handful of times I've been riding with like a loose chain and go to pedal, and if it's like kind of a bumpy ground, the chain have jumped off a few times, which 2 times left me at a hospital just to get checked like wrists and hands and concussion and stuff. So I just got over that because it's so easy to fix. I made these spacers that is just as big as the sprocket and a bit bigger, so the chain really can't jump off, which I think is a quick fix. Like, it's an easy fix that I could use and avoid the chance of having the chain jumping off. And I still need spacers, so it doesn't really bother me to have them. So definitely is cool to make something for yourself that you think is valuable.
Being an athlete and trying to compete, was that tricky to combine with school? And now that you've graduated, is that structure that you had, are you going to miss that, or does that open up new opportunities for you?
No, that's a tough question. I didn't really like school, to be honest. I just thought it was a waste of time for the most part. You just needed to do all this stuff that in one way or another shape you to who you are. Like, it creates a character. But in another way, it's also just a waste of time, where I could be riding my bike instead. So I had a hard time focusing on school, and especially when I traveled a lot and stuff. But I managed to graduate, and that's it. That's all that matters.
Time to bike.
Yeah, time to bike, yeah.
Speaking of schooling and biking, what point in your life did you start riding bikes? What did you like about it?
The bikes have always been around. It's always something I would go do, like try to do wheelies in the street on either like my old cousin's bike that had 2 flats on it. I still tried to wheelie on it, and just like some old other bikes that we had laying around from, because I'm the youngest one out of all my cousins and my dad's and mom's side. So I always had older people to look up to, I would say. And it's hard to say that it was like a turning point at one point. It's like, I'm gonna do biking. It just like slowly took over my life. I was like, I played handball, and it's like I took my bike there, and I went hockey playing and took my bike there, and kind of realized that I had more fun going there than being there. And that was because I took my bike, and that just slowly got bigger and bigger, like the interest for biking, and then also realizing that I wanted to go bike on the weekends, where we used to have like all these sorts of competitions in handball or hockey. So I quit hockey at first, and then a few years later I quit handball. But it was also good for me to do that, to build up strength and also characteristic perspective on it, that it creates a character to do something else too. It's very important to have something to occupy your mind with outside of biking as well.
So you slowly started to drop out on some of your other sports as you began to push harder with the biking. Is anything else comparable to mountain bike for you as far as enjoyment goes?
It's very unique. I was like, there's nothing really comparable to it, which I come to realize when I was injured. It's like this, I don't know, for me, it's a moment of fulfillment, and like, I feel complete when I'm riding. I feel like nothing is really bothering me, or if it's not something that's going on with the bike or whatever, like tricks or stuff. But I still enjoy that. I still enjoy the hassle of like learning new tricks and the struggle of crashing and getting back up and try again, and sooner or later maybe do it or maybe not. Sometimes you can't figure stuff out, but I like the adventure of it all. And when you go bike, it's all that matters, you're biking, which I think is the most important part for me, to just go bike and don't really think about all the other stuff, and try to do a bit of meditation, kind of.
Yeah, for you as an athlete, especially as a slopestyle athlete, having to compete and kind of access that mindset, what's it like to try and access that mindset as it's pretty much your job?
Oh, that's a tough question. That's usually something that slowly grows, usually doing the lead up to the competition or the lead up to, or during like the practice week or whatever. You like slowly get in this mood where you're like more and more focused on your goal and try to put everything else aside. It's definitely, sometimes it could be a struggle getting in the zone, but I think it's all about flow and mental peace that makes the best riding out of people, or the best, gives people the best results. Because if you're in a good mood and you know what you're up to and nothing really else matters, it's much easier path going into a competition.
Okay, and then to compare that mindset from something like a competition to maybe getting into the mindset for filming, to look at maybe here we're working on getting this one shot. How's that different for you?
There are definitely completely different things, first of all. I mean, when we did this one shoot here, or one shot segment, it's basically, I wanted to do as complicated tricks that I felt it was possible for me to pull off every single try, but still good enough that I almost wouldn't do it every single try. And it took a few tries to do it, and basically it was like doing 5 competition runs. You needed to do it every single time and pull everything off. And I guess if you're filming like a different project where you could do how many tries you want, it's also different, because then it gets to the mental part where like, I know that I could try again if I don't feel 100% right. Which in competition, you drop in and you case the first jump. It's not like you stop. You keep going. Which is the difference, I would say, because if you do like a filming shoot and you case, you're like, yeah, we try once again. So, I don't know, I think the mental part is probably the biggest difference, that you have this second chance when you're filming compared to competition where you're supposed to drop, you're supposed to be on the start and you're supposed to drop in. That's how it goes, and that's how it is for everyone. While on a shoot, it could be like, yeah, we're waiting for the light, 2 more seconds or whatever. So there's a lot of more aspect that way, where on the competition it's windy and you've been standing waiting for the wind for 30 seconds. It's like, I have to drop now because otherwise I'm going to get cold or get over it and not being focused enough. And so in some ways you got more options when filming. In some ways, I don't know. It's just different, I would say. Really different.
Yeah, definitely. And especially with this shoot where you're collaborating with so many different people, you're all kind of relying on each other all to nail your tricks.
Yeah, that's for sure. I didn't even think about bringing that up, but it's like the timing and all that. It could be like, I could do all my tricks, Tommy G could do all his tricks, and we would come up and watch the footage, and the timing wasn't ideal. So maybe I should have been faster or slower, and somebody should have gotten in sooner or later, or the camera wasn't even angled the right way, I got head cut, whatever it is. It's so many more aspects that goes into it compared to competition one, where it's you versus your tricks and the course. So that's also an aspect which is, I think, really cool too.
Is there a big difference between competitions and filming segments as far as your selection goes when choosing tricks? Do you just always prefer to do the most technical trick, or do you sometimes pick something that's maybe easier but looks better for a film? Is that something that comes to thought? Do you think about that?
That's also depends on the mood and depends on the jumps. What allows you to push yourself the most, and also your own preferences. For some videos, I can enjoy watching somebody just do like a 360, and that's way cooler than someone dropping in and do flip 10 tail whips, whatever. And for somebody that isn't really into slopestyle and all the technical, like fucking 4 or 3 or 5 bar spins, whatever you do, it could be hard to, because you gotta have an eye to see that, how many times someone's spinning, because that's, you see it out of their spin, and you gotta like connect it all. It's like a puzzle in the head. How many spins did he do? And if you're not really have gotten that far with this trick eye, I would say, I think you're enjoying watching spins and like simpler stuff way more that you actually could understand. It's like, who's watching it, I think.
Yeah, so who's watching it and how they can relate to what it is you might be doing.
Yeah, definitely more relatable. And I think that's also a cool thing with movies, that people are able to do stuff that they normally wouldn't do at a competition because of different aspects. And
This is an interesting observation from Emil, talking about the difference between a very technical trick that may get him more points in a competition run versus what he may choose to do in a video piece like this. So in a competition, doing something switch gets you more points as it's not your natural direction, but potentially might not be the right choice for a film, as it may be limiting what you're capable of. And the viewer might not even know that you did it switch, especially without Cam McCall there commentating, who seems to know everything about every rider. And this is what Emil is pointing out. If he does a 3 or 4 or 5 bar spins, definitely some people will pick up on that straight away. But just because it's hard doesn't mean that it's the most stylish looking trick. Nonetheless, on one of the days hiking up, I stopped by to see him sessioning one of the jumps and start to record some sounds, and here's something I caught of him going for a quad bar. Listen again as you hear his hand hit the bar each time of the 4 spins. Emil Johansson is such an exciting rider to watch. He seems to have so much time in the air. Just as you're trying to figure out what he's done, he adds another to it with an extra bar spin or a last second unturned down. He makes the bike look so light as he throws tail whips during, before, and after other combos, and then magically gets the bike right back to his feet. As you can imagine, he put on quite a show for us in Hawaii. It made for a great viewing room. As the day got into full motion, everybody slowly congregating around Emil and Tommy G to see what will happen next. This is R-Dog talking to Matt Hunter.
What do you do?
I think he does truck to down whip.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna watch that.
Okay.
And here Dustin Gilding, R-Dog, and Brett Reeder as he surprises them with a double downside tail whip in a warm-up.
Holy shit. Woo! Nice on him out.
I found this clip of Emil, Tommy G, and R-Dog sitting at the top of a run, and all discussing what they want to see him do next for the final sequence in the film, as Emil gives a snapshot into his practice runs for Joyride.
no, I haven't done really since. Okay, yeah, I did it in Whistler though.
Didn't you do triple truck down?
I tried, yeah.
You did.
It's
In
definitely
Innsbruck.
doable, but it sucks balls to try.
Yeah. That's fucked up.
Because I was dropping into that run, and I was like, what in my hands could I potentially do to get like third at least?
Yeah.
I was like, because I've been quad tracking that jump, like I could throw one more even.
Yeah.
I was like, I could at least like do a triple, and if it feels shit, I do a 4th one, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I'm gonna truck to drop to quad track, kind of lame.
Join back into the interview, and
I've asked Emil how he's found shooting this final clip, with there being so much pressure on the riders as well as the filmers, everybody having to nail their line.
That's why I think it's cool too.
Yeah, so for this last segment in Hawaii, you guys obviously have so much to deal with in your own selecting of tricks and then actually nailing all those tricks. What do you think of that, them working alongside a film crew also having to capture everyone's segment all in one take? I mean, Darcy's riding down next to you guys with a full camera rig attached to his back while he's riding an electric motorbike.
That's cool. I've never seen such a thing, but I also never filmed stuff, so I don't know if that's normal or not, but it doesn't seem very normal. It's pretty cool that he has his own track that he goes to around the course, and at some places even passes the course, and that's like the hard part, because he's supposed to sync it all with the riders, and then the people in the side-by-side need to nail the camera angles and need to, because if you're just watching a screen, it could be hard to navigate inside it. So it's pretty fucked actually, but I think it's cool. It's cool for sure. A lot of work that goes into it. I was thinking, like, what are the percentage that we actually nailed the shot when we did that 4-segment one up there? That could be some interesting math. Definitely not in my league, but could be fun to know, like, what the odds are, because it doesn't seem like it's very big. Like, that you actually, like, getting to the same spot every time, and the camera guy coming down, the camera angle is right, and everyone's doing their stuff right. Nobody likes sketchy, and yeah, that stuff is tough. It's really tough.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting collaboration. You guys, the riders, are all trying to pull off everything you're doing and make that perfect. And at the same time, us the filmmakers, we want to make sure that we do the best job from our side and that they both all align.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like the thing with the one shot. It's more a matter of cinematic than actual competition riding tricks, which is cool, I think, because that also puts up a different perspective and a new way of filming, kind of, that it's all in one shot and everyone is cooperating and everyone is doing it all together. It's not like I go to do a jump and it's like slow-mo, and then Tommy G comes the clip after, and he could done a million tries on that, or he lands his first try. Like, that's also a thing that's different. Like, if somebody does it always first try, it's very impressive. And then, like, collaborating and getting that all together in one shot is pretty cool.
As your riding progresses for competition and film and even personal riding, you always have to push yourself further and further and push the new tricks that you want to learn, and that's not something that a lot of people are able to do as they learn to ride. What do you think it is about you that allows you to do this, to always take the next step?
Wow, that's a pretty deep question, actually. What's inside me that makes me go and push myself further and further, even though the risk gets bigger and bigger, and it's hard to put it into words what's really going on up there in the mind sometimes. But it's all a matter of I think it's a matter of feeling good for most people. I wouldn't say it has to do with which some people maybe would think now when I say this, like, it makes us feel good that we don't have enough confidence without it. It's just that I think a lot of bikers could relate to this. Your mood is based out of how you feel on your bike. If you're having a shit day, you're probably not too pumped on that day. While on you're having a good day, you're feeling pretty good. But I don't know, it's a tough question to actually think about. But it's all, I think it is that, yeah, you jump this stuff and you do this stuff, and it's like, what's next, you know? Because life goes on, and when when I've jumped this jump a few times, I get bored. I think it's a matter of I'm getting bored more than being kind of crazy about it. I'm just like, yeah, I've done this trick now this many times, and I could do it on the first try. Let's try something more complicated. And then you get that one dialed, and it's like something even more complicated. I would have sessions, because when I started, I would like try to do my tricks, and it's like, it was 4 tricks. It was fine. It was over in 15 minutes, and then I could try new stuff. But now it's like, I got all these tricks I want to have dialed, so I could spend 3 hours just doing tricks I know. And that's also like a challenge, like how to melt it down and stay motivated when you have that much on your mind and like on the task, I guess. But I love it. It's a challenge for yourself, and a challenge for the mind, for the body, it brings out every single thing out of you, I would say. If you're not mentally strong enough, you maybe could pull it off a few times, but to pull it off every single time is tough. It's just as much a mental part, or I think it's even bigger a mental part than a matter of your body.
So do you look at something you've done and gone, okay, I've been able to do this, I should be able to step it up one little bit and take it to the next stage?
For sure, I've used that a lot. Like, I don't know, I don't like the word impossible. It's too commonly used. A lot of people is like, nah, that's impossible. It's like, and you break it down and you think about it. I think about it a lot. Like, what if I would put my time into a different sport? Who would I be? Like, now we're here. Like, what if I would grow up here and be surfing instead? Would I have gotten as far in that as biking? And potentially, maybe, because I got this mindset. It's just a matter of where you get located, I think. And I think that was also with school. That was why I managed to finish, because I wanted to get it done so I could focus on the rest, which kind of dragged some focus from biking for a while. But during that time, I was also injured, so it was fine for me to just finish school.
So pushing yourself mentally and physically for always progressing on the bike. What tricks have you found the hardest?
Some of the harder tricks I've done that people think is just nuts came all naturally given to me. Like, I know these tricks. I feel it out. I do a few tries and just try to like see the possibilities. If I like do combo, I like do the first 2 combos in the trick, and it's like looking. It's like, yeah, I got time. I could like move the bars. I feel confident enough to do it, and then. Like the backflip quint bar spin I did. That's something that a lot of people would say is like pretty fucked. And it is pretty fucked. I would probably not do it now if you had a big enough jump like straight away. But at that point, I did flip triple bar on that jump earlier in the week. And then I wanted to do flip quad bar. So that day, I already done a bunch of tricks, and it's like, I did a flip triple bar. That was fine. I did like flip bar, no-hander bar to can, and like all sorts of dumb stuff. It's like I probably could flip quint bar this jump. And I did it first try. So it's like, it was like too easy, I felt like. I was like, I probably could do something more. I was like, and then a friend of mine just came up. It's like, you probably should consider like 5 bars. I think it's doable. And we talked about it early in the week, and we like kind of joked around. It's like, yeah, whatever, not a chance. And it's like, I drop in, and I never done it in foam pit, never done it in airbag, whatsoever. And the jump after I did my first flip quad bar on the jump, I did my first flip quint bar. So I landed first try. And when I landed that, it went so fast, like you can't even count that stuff. It's just a muscle memory thing. So it's like I landed, like kind of reviewed it to myself in the brain. It's like, I think it was 5. So I watched the GoPro footage and it's like, damn, it was 5 bar spins. Like, so like 2 minutes after I did it, I really got to see it myself, which also speaks for the unconscious part about it, kind of, where some things could come so naturally for you because you're just haven't really tried that path. Like you haven't tried going right instead of left. And if you're talented enough to go right, maybe when you go left, it's not such a big deal. And sometimes the turns are way tougher than others, but sometimes you have all these basics stacked up in a pile that shapes you into the rider you are, and also gives you the opportunity to, only by changing the way you look at something, giving you a possibility to do so many new tricks. Just because you already know how to do the basics, like why would it be more complicated to flip them over and do it differently? It's just a matter of tries and getting your head around it, I think. But tricks are definitely getting harder.
And then with that progression happening with tricks in the slopestyle scene, how do you think that plays out for younger kids getting into the sport, trying to get into slopestyle specifically?
It's going to take a while for kids to get to the point. I mean, I was lucky enough to get in it early, in an early age, but it's hard because you look at competition runs now, people doing 1440s and all these really heavy tricks. And for a 13-year-old to approach that, like, yeah, I know how to do a one-hander. It's kind of hard. It's a big step. So I think it will take longer for kids to get to that point. But I may be wrong. I don't know. It's just a matter of the fact that the tricks are getting harder and you kind of need to know the basics. And the basic you can't really jump over too fast. But if you watch other sports, like people winning X Games now, they are not very old. They are between 15 and 20 years old.
Yeah, as much as the tricks are progressing at such a fast speed, the kids entering the sport seem to also be coming in at a higher level.
Yeah.
Do you think that is to do with them watching X Games and competitions? And like you say, the mental side of it being such a big part as to whether you're able to approach a new trick or not.
A trick is so easy if you see somebody else do it. If the guy that does the trick is talented and smooth enough, you could like break down and see every single move he makes, like how he pulls the bars, how he lays, how he twists, how he pumps, and everything is so reachable. Like you could go on YouTube and you could search on whatever trick you want. It's like pretty much a how-to for most of the basic tricks. And we got more and more indoor spots. We got more and more kids on social media. First of all, I think the social media is good in that way that it gives kids this Bible of tricks they could read and watch every day. And just spark their mind with and like think about. And I think that's one of the reasons kids gets younger and younger for sure.
So YouTube videos and films on mountain biking and being able to watch competitions, you think this is something that pulls kids into the sport?
If you watch like mountain biking, it's more and more publicly accepted, kind of. If you would go 10 years back and somebody would say they're a mountain biker and they jump stuff, they would just say you're dumb. But now it's more accepted, I think. For sure. And if you watch snowboarding and all that, it's Olympics. So actually, I think parents is a big part in it all, in supporting their kids. Because maybe, 20 years ago, it probably wasn't the same. Like, if somebody would tell their parents, like, yeah, I want to do free skiing. And it's like, what's that? Or I want to do free riding. And it's like, no, you're not. You're going to play football like everyone else, and it's too expensive, or blah, blah, blah. But then you see motocross, it's always people that, because motocross is an expensive sport, but there's still people that gets really good in that. Even though they don't have the biggest economy ever. So, I don't know, it's a matter of the sport growing, I think. And first of all, being so easy to do. Like if you're gonna go bike park, somebody fucking built hundreds of trails you could go ride. It's not an issue. You don't need to go out in the woods and build it for 5 years and then maybe ride it 2 times, and it's like you need to rebuild it. So it's all connected in one way or another. And for every person it's connected in different ways. How they get into the sport and how they end up where they are.
This question led from you pushing your tricks, and you mentioned how you had a buddy with you saying, oh, I think you could have put an extra bar spin in there. Is it important to you to be riding with friends, or do you enjoy the alone time?
Definitely not the second option. I rather have good people around me, because I think that's really important to have people around you that is in the same mindset as you. They are not really like, that's impossible, or no, that's not cool, or whatsoever. They just amped and see possibilities, and sometimes it could be too much. Like if you see possibilities in everything, you could like, fuck, what should I do? It's so much. And it also get to a point where it's like over positive thinking also, if everything is possible. But I think it's the key to having fun on your bike and growing, is to have good people around you with a good mindset, and that you could feed off and help as well as they help you. And I think that's the most important part in it all. And that's why I love riding, because we're just out having a good time and riding bikes.
This is my first time working with Emil, and it was easy to see that he thrived in the company of other athletes. Always interested in learning from another person. We were coming into the final week on the island of Oahu in Hawaii, and this meant we were chasing the long, continuous final shot of the film. Emil and Tommy had the slopestyle section of this final shot. When recording the athletes in the different sections, it was fun to hear the different sounds for each section as the pairs made their way down the mountain. Brett Reeder and Reed Boggs playfully tricking their big bikes at the top of the mountain.
Oh yeah! Yeah, dude.
And fast big jumps to match their bikes. Then Casey Brown and R-Dog, flat out in the straights and berms.
Here comes our dog.
Thanks.
Nice.
Sorry.
That was good.
You can hear the red volcanic soil being ripped up by the tires of the DH bikes of these two previous pairs. All of a sudden, the loose, crumbling terrain changes to huge sets of doubles along the ridgeline. Now to Tommy G and Emil Johansson. The hard-packed dirt and high tire pressures of the slope bike, making the rims vibrate in their own fundamental frequency. As the two slopestyle athletes hang in the air above you, the bike movement sounds so incredibly detailed. No competition crowds or PA system to drown it out. Just the Hawaiian backdrop of endless forest and ocean. The shot moves on to the final piece. All the athletes join together for one big jump. One big jump that Austin Davignon has been building relentlessly every day I've seen him. The shot is filmed by Darcy Wittenberg, who's driving an electric motorbike with a camera strapped to his back, stabilized by a Movi system. Austin has built a ramp for Darcy to ride up along, with all the other athletes' takeoffs launching them right over Darcy's head. The shot is being filmed on a super slow motion camera controlled by cinematographer Darren McCullough, while Colin Jones directs the shots and gives timing. Tommy G and Emil have the two final tricks in the sequence, which make them the two final shots of the film. And maybe it doesn't seem that stressful when you're watching this at home, but this small company has spent a huge part of their budget for the film, getting all these athletes, builders and crew out here to Hawaii. And this just short of a month filming now leads down to these two final tricks. The pressure's definitely on. In the interview, we're talking to Emil before he's hit this final jump, so I get his thoughts on it before it all unfolds.
Tommy G have written your segment together, and then you two end the entire film. Can you tell me what you know about this shot so far, what we're trying to achieve?
Me and Tommy G is supposed to jump the same jump, but just a regular line pretty much. But I think the trick we will do will hopefully look good, even though we spin the different directions and stuff, and we're both gonna do regular tricks. I hope that it's gonna look good in the video. I don't know, we will see. We still yet need to try the jump to see what's possible on it. Maybe the plans changed it on the first jump. It's like, nope, I'm not doing that. Or we maybe, I don't know. We will see. I'm pumped to try to see how it looks. It's gonna be fun. I wonder how many tries it would take to get the sync for the first riders to sync and not collide in the air, because that would be gnarly if they collide in the air. And then, yeah, it's gonna be interesting for sure. A lot of fun watching. And the frozen moment is probably gonna be pretty cool.
So have you and Tommy talked about what tricks you want to try for this final shot?
I'm not too sure. Like, we were just discussing like flip combos and stuff. But it all depends on the jump. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, maybe that's a good way to wrap it off. You're talking about looking at the jump, and we've discussed how it's all been such a big part of teamwork amongst us all here, amongst the riders and the crew. And part of that crew has been the builders digging all these lines, and it's, from our side, it's been just seamless. You guys just all seem to be able to hit everything they build. What's that like, having builders digging for you? They're judging what you might do on the jumps. What's that experience like? How have you found it here working with these guys, most of them from Loft? The dig crew being made up of Dustin, Austin, and Xander from Loft, as well as Ben Byers and Adam Billinghurst.
They're extremely talented. I mean, the dirt here is not ideal, I would say, for shaping jumps, and I've tried working with dirt, and I'm not good at shaping though. Just keep in mind, but it's really hard to do, and I think they do an amazing job, and they really are professionals at what they do, and definitely have good ideas that they have. And it's like, I don't really know who planned all this stuff, but they have been a big part of it, and pretty much improvising the most parts. Like, yeah, this could be good, and it's like, do that, and then it's like, I ride through the course. I was the first one to hit the course up there before Tommy G arrived, and I go ride it, and it rides perfectly first go. And then you're just like, fuck, these guys know like the size, the speed, and it just, they probably just view people riding it while they dig it. It's like, yeah, probably this speed is good. It's insane. But they definitely have some good ideas, and it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, it's been insane. Well, that's cool. Thanks very much for having a chat. I'll let you get back out. And
thank you. Good. Easy. No problem. It was fun.
Sick, dude.
Yeah. Fun talking shit.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. This is the funnest part. We open the doors and the air comes in. Yes. We need air conditioning, Joe.
Thank you for listening. That was Emil Johansson. This was an interview recorded on location in Hawaii for the final segment of the film Return to Earth. The interview and questions were also carried out by cinematographer Matthew Butterworth. We would love to hear your feedback on the podcast. I've really enjoyed being able to share all these sounds that I've captured for the film. We wanted the sounds to be the authentic writing audio, and so a lot of work went into making this happen. The film is up on Amazon Prime if you want to check it out, and I'll put all the relevant links in the description. I am Jonathan Osborne. Thanks again for listening.
I think you got a spider on the glass.
Oh, he's coming inside.
Let's run. No.